Hi everybody, welcome back. So I know that I promised you the next video would be the basswood earrings, but I actually borrowed my heat press to someone, so I don't really want to do it without the heat press. So today I'm going to be doing a design space video. I do find that these videos get a lot of traction, so that tells me that they are helping people, which is a good thing. So today I'm going to be focusing on SVGs downloading and uploading. So there are a couple different places that you can get free SVGs from. Let me start off by saying that having your Access subscription actually allows you to do so much. So a lot of the time we don't look in the community projects, and there are so many community projects that don't show up under the Cricut projects. So you can actually do that by looking under community, and you can search for something specific, or you can just scroll through and have a look. So if you do find that what you're looking for is not on Design Space, there are a couple places you can look. So you can look on Design Bundles, you can look on Creative Fabrica. Those two I know give out free bundles every now and then. So one of the things you do need to watch out for is if you are selling your items, you have to make sure that whatever SVG you're downloading has a commercial license attached to it. If it only has a personal license or a private license, then you are not authorized to sell the items that you make with that SVG. So Cricut actually has an angel policy that outlines what you can and can't do with the things that are found on Design Space. And you are allowed to sell 90% of what is on Design Space as a finished product. So there's a lot in the angel policy. I would suggest that you read over it so that you know what you can and can't do. So I'm not going to go into all of it, it's a lot. So let's just look at downloading and uploading SVGs. So I'm not going to go onto the websites, but like I said, Design Bundles and Creative Fabrica have a lot of free SVGs on it. You can also buy SVGs from Etsy. You can find on Pinterest. So what will happen on Pinterest is that you will search for what you want, and then there will be a link to take you to the SVG. So you've obviously got to be careful from where you purchase. You've got to make sure that you're buying a legitimate SVG and you're not getting just a normal picture. So let me show you how to upload. So the first thing is I have my SVGs here. So when you download it, what's going to happen is it's going to be in a zip file. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click and you're going to say extract all. You're going to choose the destination. Let's see. And you're going to say extract. So once that's done, you will then be able to upload it into Design Space. So what we would do is we'd go down here to upload, and we would say upload image, browse. Okay, in our SVGs, we have not the worst employer SVG. If we double click on that, you'll see you've got a couple different files. So what you would do is you would go to the one that has the little Microsoft Edge picture, or it must say SVG at the end. A PNG is basically an image that doesn't have a background. I don't know what an EPS and a DXF is. I'm sure somebody will be able to tell me. I've never had to use them. So you would click on the one that's got the .svg on it. So as you can see, it's uploaded, and if there were different colors in this, it would actually, oh, well, it does, you see. So this one is broken up into different letters, so I can actually change. So if I want to change the color of this, I can change the color, and they've made it quite nice. So usually if it's just a black SVG, like if it's full black, then it'll all be one image. But this one, they've done it nicely, so I can actually just change whatever I want to. And I can also delete things if I want to. this one I don't think I would want to. So basically when you upload an SVG, it is ready for use. There's not much more that you have to do to it. But I'm going to show you on one of my other ones what can happen and how to fix it. Okay, so I recently made some gable boxes for birthday parties, and one of the issues that I picked up on was where there should have been a score line, there was a cut line. So when I initially made it, I actually didn't check it, which is something that you should always do. I didn't realize that it was cut lines instead of score lines, and yeah, it was just a bunch of squares. So you should always obviously check your SVGs before you go ahead and cut them. They're not always set up correctly. So I think it was this one. So let's say add to canvas. Okay, so if we look at the side, we've got different different pieces to it. So if I click on this, which is, so let me delete it so that you can see what it is. As you can see, it's all of the fold lines. So let's just undo that. Oopsie, let's redo. Undo. Oh. Okay, let me upload that again. Now that I've shown you. Okay, so this is the outline of the box. This is all of our score lines. But if you look at your operation, it's still showing as basic cut. So what you would do is you would change it to score. And then you would just make sure that everything is still attached. So what attaching does is it makes sure that when it goes onto the mat, it is all together on one mat. So this is good when you're doing multiple functions on the same image. So if you're drawing and then scoring and then cutting, you would attach everything together. Otherwise, what would happen is on your mat, you would have one mat for drawing, one mat for scoring, and one mat for cutting. And the thing with a Cricut machine is once you've unloaded the mat, it's not going to line up perfectly again. So while that mat is loaded, it knows exactly where to cut, score, draw, and it's going to get it in line every time. Once you unload it and reload it, it then resets and it will start to score / cut slightly off from where it originally was. So with this one, if we wanted to change the color, we would select basically just the outside of the box, and then we could change the color. I don't think it would make a difference at this point because you would be cutting it out of whatever you wanted to. So the most important thing is to make sure that wherever you're supposed to have a cut line, you have a cut line. Wherever you're supposed to have a score line, you have a score line. Once you change something within that SVG, it will separate. You have to make sure to reattach it again. And then when you send it to your Make It screen, everything's together on one mat. So as you can see, I've only got one mat. I don't have two mats, three mats. I've only got one mat, but I've got two different functions on one mat. So that's what your attach does. So I know I have gone through a lot of these features and functions before, but I think it's nice to just cover it. If you haven't seen a lot of my previous videos, you can go back and have a look. I have covered a lot of design space. I think I'm running out of things to actually cover with it, but I'm sure there will be new things all the time. So the next thing, let's get rid of our box. So these are some SVGs that I bought for my daughter, and if I upload this and add it to my canvas. So one thing I noticed with this is that there's a lot of the same color that is not connected, which obviously makes it a little bit difficult, especially if you're doing, say, I don't know, you're doing vinyl. So if you're doing vinyl, it would become difficult to do all of these tiny little pieces. So what we can do is we can actually go onto color sync. So what I find works for me personally, if I select, let's Let's detach everything, ungroup it. So if I select one of these colors and I click here, there are so many colors to choose from. It actually makes it very difficult for me to try and match them up to the color that I want. So we can group that again. So what I would do here is sort of the darker colors, like the darker blues. I would see if I can match them up. I didn't really like that too much. And obviously try to minimize the amount of colors that I'm using. So what happens is when you drag it up, it actually just changes the color automatically for you, and it makes it just so much easier to match it all up. Okay, so what I've done is I have matched up my colors without losing too much definition. What I would then do is I would actually weld the pieces together. So how you do that is you work in your layers panel and you would select the first part that you want to weld. You would go down to the next part and you would select control. So you could say attach or you could say weld. So what will happen, sorry. So what will happen if you attach it, obviously it is a mess. So let's ungroup it first. And then we're going to start to attach or weld everything together. So let's say attach. There we are, it's working perfectly now. And basically you want all of the colors that are the same to be together. Okay, so what that did is it's simplifying my math for me. So if there's two parts that are the same color, they're not going to cut separately. So I'm not going to have, say, his one paw in the first block of the mat and his second paw in the second block of the mat. I'm going to have it exactly where it's supposed to be placed. So it's just going to make it easier for you when you actually have to try and put it all together. So for instance, if we look here, his whole face is basically together. I didn't change that though. What did I change? So here, I don't know why those aren't attached, but basically here you're going to cut out this whole piece, and exactly where his collar is will be the exact space away from this little badge on the top of his head. So all it's doing, yes, it does waste a little bit of vinyl, but all it's doing is making it easier for you to put it together in the end. So if you have problems with layering, this will help you a lot. So another type of SVG that you get, I've already uploaded it. Let's have a look. Is so this SVG I downloaded, I think from Creative Fabrica, I'm not sure. So if you have a look on the side, there actually isn't a lot of words. Yeah. So there actually isn't any way for you to change cut lines to score lines. But as you can see, it's got the look of score lines with it. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to cut a dashed line into your cardstock, and that's going to act as your score line. And it works beautifully. You can't see it once you've put it together. And what they do is they've actually got a type of, so one's got a long dash and a small dash and a long one and a small one, and the other one's got just small ones. So that will tell you if it's a mountain or a valley fold. So a mountain fold folds upwards, a valley folds downwards. You think about the peak of a mountain, it goes upwards, and a valley obviously goes downwards. So if I say make it, you will see that my first mat has all these crazy letters and arrows. So what that is, those were guards on your mat. And obviously Design Bundles and Creative Fabrica and all these different websites that you can download from, they don't have the guard function. So if I had made this in Cricut Design Space, I could have made all of my sort of my guards or my instructions, I could have turned them into a guard and they wouldn't show up on my mat. But obviously they don't have that function, so this is how they've had to do it. So what you would do is you would completely ignore this mat, you wouldn't cut it, you would just click on your next one and you would start cutting from there. As you can see on the mat, your dashed lines are still there. So if you have this type of SVG, it will work perfectly, there's no need to stress. So here is where there's a small bit of a problem because there's more of the instructions slash guides attached to this color. So what you would then do is go back to your mat and change this to a different color, or you could say move object and you could put it on a new mat. Choose any color, it doesn't matter, you're going to know what the color is. And there it's on a new mat. So with all of it, with everything you upload, say now you're working on butterfly cardstock, you can actually change the size of your mat to A4 and it will set up according to that. So when I made this one, I only had a small piece of cardstock for this of the design that I wanted to use. So you can actually move things around and maneuver it so that it fits according to the space that you actually have available. So you don't always have to use, say, A4 page if that's what's there, or an A5. It can be anything you have, and you can use the lines on your mat as a guide basically. So the last thing I wanted to show you is I just wanted to go over uploading an image again. So I have done a video on that before, but obviously we all learn every day. And since then I have learned a bit. So I'm just going to upload an image and show you how to do that and show you how to get the best result when uploading an image. And then I'll also show you how you can basically get 2 different colors out of one image, or 3 different colors out of one image, depending on what you want. Okay, so obviously I don't want to infringe upon any copyright, so I've just chosen some very simple images to show you. So here I have a PNG and 2 JPEGs. So I'm going to start with the PNG. So if we upload that, as you can see, it's got this sort of checkered background. That means that it's got no background. So if you can find PNGs that have a commercial license attached to them, or even a personal license, and you're free to use them, those would be the best thing to use if you're doing sort of an image. So you would then just choose simple, say continue, and say apply and continue, and already you have your cut file available. So this is what it would look like if it's cut, and this would look like print and cut basically. So I don't need that, I'm not going to upload that, I just wanted to show you a PNG versus an SVG or a JPEG. So if we click on upload, we're now going to choose one of the JPEGs. And what we would do is we would choose moderately complex and say continue. And then you would go down to the bottom and click on more options. What I would then do is I would reduce my colors to 2 and I would change my color tolerance to 100. I would then say select and I would go and click each little thing. So this wasn't really a good example because I chose a very small image. So if you wanting to cut it, you would click here, which we want to do. If you're wanting to print and cut, you would click there. So we would say upload, and we would add that to canvas. So some of these lines are very thin. What I would then do is I would add my offset of between 0.015 and 0.018. You can obviously play with different ones. These are just the ones that I found worked for me. So let's say apply. We would then delete that and we would rather cut that out. So let me show you another one and how to get multiple colors out of, say, a coloring page. So let me just show you what will happen if you don't remove the background, which I've seen a lot of people actually do battle with this. So if I say apply and continue, as you can see, my cut image is just going to be a big black square. So you actually have to go and change all of them. So let's change our color tolerance to 100. And let's go and remove all of the color. So now we have a pretty image. We're going to upload that. What we're going to do now is we're going to resize it so that it fits in the top of our screen, and we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to duplicate that as many times. So if we want 5 colors, we're going to duplicate it 5 times. If we want 3 colors, we're going to do it 3 times. I think I'm going to go with 3 colors. And what we would do is we would click on the first one and we would click on contour. And we then want to basically get rid of all the pieces that we don't want. So I think I'm actually going to do 2 colors. So as you can see in your top screen, you can see where it's changing. So there we've got the outline that's going to cut, and now we have the inside that's going to cut. And that's basically what I want. I want the inside to cut. Let's get rid of these eyeballs, and we'll close that. We can then change this color to, say, pink, or let's do blue stars. That's pretty. And you can actually match it in there. So next we're going to do the color for the moon and the other star. So we would click on contour again. And this time we want to keep the moon and the star. So we would click there. And we would just sort of play until we get rid of everything that we don't want. We want his eyeball. And we can close that. Let's change this to yellow. And we now have a multi-layered SVG simply by using an uploaded coloring page. That's all we did. I didn't purchase this. I don't actually have rights to use it, just a disclaimer, and I'm not going to use it, but I think it's a good example to show you how you can manipulate your images. So even within Design Space, what you see is not all that you can do with it. There's so much more that you can do using your slice function, your offset, your weld, all these different features. You just have to play, and I think as you become more comfortable with it, you realize that Design Space on its own has so much available to you. So I hope that this has helped you a little bit, and I promise you that next week we will be doing one of our videos. So I have a lot planned. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. I have a lot planned for the next couple videos. I still need to give away that box. I'll be honest, I haven't been out the house much. I've kind of been hermiting, so I still need to do that. I want to do the basswood earrings. I want to play with some polymer clay. I've still got to do engraving and cutting of fabric, and there's so much to get to, and I'm kind of resentful that I have to work. I'm super grateful, but I'm resentful because I would so much rather be making videos all day. We recently announced the winner for our Instagram competition, and I am already thinking about what we can do for our next competition. So if you have some ideas of what we can do, what we can give away, let me know in the comments. Also, obviously, as I always say, if you have any questions, if there's anything you'd like me to touch on in my videos, let me know. I do read the comments. I don't always get to reply straight away, but I do read all of them, and I appreciate the love and support and the questions and the direction in terms of my videos. It really helps when you ask questions, and it sort of sparks that creativity in terms of what can I do next. So the main thing that I want to focus on, or not that I want to focus on, or the main thing that I want to know from you is with regards to a competition. What should I give away? And how do you think it should be sort of judged, if we can say that? So I've done a like and share, and I've done a subscribe to my channel. So I was thinking of maybe doing like a craft competition this time, but there'll be no judging, if that makes sense. So all you would have to do is submit some type of artwork, and you would automatically be entered. So I will have a chat to Craft Buddies and see if they would allow us to use their platform to showcase some of my followers' art. Um, but let me know, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you have any thoughts on maybe how we could do it better or what we could give away? I'm very interested to hear. Thank you as always for watching my videos and the support and the love. I appreciate all of you, and I cannot wait to do this again.